Hey guys, welcome back to Hotel Dropouts. This week we'll be talking briefly about the rat race and working culture in general. If you like our content, be sure to check us out on Spotify as well. If you're interested in asking any questions or supporting the channel, you can check out our Patreon. Links in the description below. Also, if you can give us a quick subscribe and like, it'll help us out a lot and much appreciated. All right, let's get started. How is our week? How has our week been for you guys?
You want me to start?
Let's start with Dan.
Yay. Hello, everyone. Let me think. My week was good. I'm pretty happy. And we decided to do a mini renovation at our home. It's a
Mhm.
very small renovation. We have a wall that doesn't fit with anything else around it. So we were like, let's paint it white. And we got the paint. We even planned to start yesterday, but by the time we got through all of our errands, we were just tired and we were like, another day.
Mm.
Speaking of
Today it's
errands,
snowing,
oh,
heavy snowing. It's beautiful, but to be honest, I prefer a winter without snow. And this winter was pretty much like that all the time.
Mm.
I was curious. Like the last time I was there in Latvia, because I noticed that outside of your complex, it's just a lot of roads, and then does the government send a truck to go around the city and clean up snow, or do you guys have to shovel it yourself?
The main roads are done by the government. Actually, they're changing the system. They are gradually making more and more roads clean by the government. Before it was that people had to clean the road that is in front of their house on their
Mm,
own. Or usually apartment complexes, they have a company that is taking care of the home, and that company usually hires somebody that cleans the street.
I see, and that's
Uh,
how taxpayer money is being extracted, right? Like you take a little
y-
bit there, and then hire a subcontractor who takes a little bit there, and then they hire another subcontractor, which is usually run by minorities, cheap labor.
well, actually, in our case, our home is ran by one of the people that live here,
Mm.
and they just hire freight with there's no subcontractors.
Do you guys have the equivalent of a house owners association, the HOA? Like these people that they will demand, they'll say that, oh, outside of your apartment complex or your building you cannot put flags or signs. They give you all the regulations.
We have some regulations, but they don't come from some home association. They just come from basically, I think it's the architecture department of the city. Like,
Mm,
for example, you can't just carve out a window in a wall if you want to. You have to see with this department if you can. Maybe the department will deem that action to kind of either do something structurally to the building that shouldn't be done, or maybe somehow decrease of the appeal of the neighborhood because of that. And then you also have to gather the majority of other neighbors, like in the apartment building.
hmm
They have to agree that they're fine with you carving out the window.
so even if you own the house, you don't actually get to do whatever you
I
want
mean,
with
this
it.
is all about the apartment. With the
Ah.
houses, it's a lot simpler. You can pretty much do whatever you want. I
Mm.
know that there are some new neighborhoods that are built and they have, for example, a standard fence for everyone. And sometimes they even can impose a standard tile. But it's nearly not as powerful as I've heard about the American version of this.
Oh, thank
If
goodness.
somebody is a drunk that is always noisy and everything, there's still not that much you can do, and you're pretty much stuck with that person,
Hmm.
being your neighbor.
You know, something that's always bothered me is that I went to Japan in Hokkaido. It's like all the way up north, and then they have this road system where they run. I'm guessing it's like a warm. It's not really warm water, but it's flowing water that has salt in it, and they run the stream of water down the road. So even in like a city that snow as much as Hokkaido, the streets are always clear of snow because there's constant flow of water that that washes away the snow. Like why don't other
Interesting.
countries, yeah, why don't other countries do that? That's just, it seems so effective, like, in terms of minimizing accidents and then all that stuff.
Well, I
I,
don't know, but in Switzerland they have this like road salt boxes that people that usually the road clearing teams would use. But the problem is, it seems like they're always taken by surprise.
I guess that's the problem everywhere.
Mm.
Same
Wait,
case for us.
so you literally just grab salt and then you start sprinkling it, you
Well,
season the
usually
road.
we don't do it. Usually it's
Yeah,
the
trucks drive around and they have a sprinkler on the back that
yeah
sprinkles salt on the road, and in the front they have what do you call it? Snowplow.
yeah.
Mm. Man, I would never know. It never snows in my country. It's kind of sad.
Well, not yet.
Indeed.
You
Oh
think
my
it will?
goodness. I think
No,
so.
I don't think so. But like, you never know. Maybe we might come into an atomic winter.
Yeah.
Then Jamie's weather was just going to be nice, mild, and will be freezing.
I saw a video earlier today. Like, so apparently there are physicists that claim that to solve the current climate crisis, we need like a
Mhm.
nuclear explosion. We need to set off like a nuke or something to artificially invoke the nuclear winter, and it'll, like, the plumes, I guess, or something will literally cool the planet.
You know, statements like that are dangerous because the politicians are gonna think, "Oh, wait, so maybe it's a good thing that we go to war."
Yeah, can you imagine? It's a good thing we
Mm.
continue whatever it is on the Ukrainian front or Palestinian front. Man,
Mm.
how's your week, Benny?
My week's been good. Every week is getting a bit more intense with the training.
Mm.
Um, but life's good. I thought I wouldn't be able to see my partner this weekend because she was doing night shifts. But no, she took her time. She came over, and it was a win-win situation for her. We get to see each other, and she gets to save some time. So it's been a good week. Oh, I started working out again too, so that's nice.
Benny's
Gotta
sore.
get ready for the summer, you know.
Everything you just said was as if there's a constellation like in my eyes. It's like it's so shining, it's blinking. Like, that's the Asian term for somebody talking about their relationship. It's to flash somebody in the eye with the glorious sweetness of being in love. And what you just said made me blind.
Oh, sorry. I'll turn it down a bit.
No, no, no. In a good way. In a good way. Oh man.
Nah.
You guys have had such good weeks. I have just been struggling with my illness, and then I've been training my own stable diffusion model, and I've been
Mhm.
preparing, like, to learn how to generate 3D models from text prompts or image prompts, and it's something I didn't know about. So whenever you're training like an AI system, a large language model, uh
Mhm.
you need what's called a checkpoint file. And that basically contains the training data. So you could have a checkpoint file that specializes in celebrity faces, or you can have a checkpoint file that specializes in anime girls, for example. And so
Mhm.
I went on the website to download these checkpoint files, and I'm surprised at the amount of people that like feet. Like,
Mm.
one of the most downloaded checkpoint files were accurate female feet. You can generate really good. as it says, little piggies.
Little
What?
piggies. Why piggies?
I guess they refer to like your toes as piggies. Because if you have,
What?
yeah, if you have like these, you know how people are into feet, right? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
which has a very interesting story behind as well. It's apparently because the area that we associate things with sexual arousal is also very close to the area where we sense feet or something. I vaguely remember hearing this from a science podcast, and which is why
What?
yeah,
That makes no sense to
there's
me.
a reason why one of the more common kinks in human beings is feet fetish. I would say
Huh.
it's the most common actually. Like it's most common for people to have a feet fetish. Well,
All right.
Mm.
anyway, so now you know.
Now I know. But
Oh.
when you said realistic description or data of feet, I have to ask: is it like the perfect foot where it's all straight and stuff, or is it like the shoe bound foot where it's a bit turned in on the top? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the training data would contain almost all kinds of feed, right? And like these training data sets are huge, right? When you download them, they're like 6 gigs to 10 gigabytes, and the
Mm.
whole concept is to be able to generate videos from them. So people have been like, generating celebrity faces and then making like little feet fetish pornography using their likeness. And I think I don't know if we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we have these the rise of AI Instagram accounts, social media accounts that are explicitly AI images, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a combination of sometimes a fully AI generated character, or it could be a woman who uses her own body as a model, but then she uses AI to replace her face with another girl's features. And
Mm.
Mm.
so the feet fetish would fit inside this niche, right? Like you need a bunch of data to be able to train and make videos of like well feet from all possible angles. And then they'll do AI generation, and then they'll actually do a lot of work behind that, a lot of Photoshop work or compositing work to make these videos. And then they make apparently some of the accounts are making like $3,000 a month.
Well,
Dang.
It's insane. Like who pays for
that's some
this?
good. That's some work.
It is a full-time job if you think about it, because you need to arrange photo shoot, you need to set up a scene, right? And then a bunch of
Yeah.
like it's intense, but like I don't understand this mentality, because like I don't know if it's because of me, because like for gay people it's well, for any kind of person like it's really easy to access pornography. So what's the motivation behind you know, buying into these, niche fantasies? Like, do you guys ever feel like you want? Is there
I
something you
I
want to buy
I
into?
totally share your confusion. I have the same exact thought. But I guess it's because it adds an emotional connection. Like it's not just some random girl.
Hmm.
You think so?
It's a specific one to which you can return, to which you can even communicate
Oh yeah,
to.
interact with.
I guess it taps into loneliness as well a lot, or something like that.
Mm.
I feel like that's my opinion, my guess.
You know, I
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Of course,
sometimes.
it's just an opinion. You totally are not the.
Yeah, I've never
Somehow,
done it. I have no idea
No,
how
I'm
would you
joking.
how would you even do it.
but
No, I'm joking as
But
well.
like the pathology
Yeah.
is so interesting, because you would see these news articles about these people that go out of the way, to meet their
Mm.
OnlyFans goddess, right? Like they would pay upwards of, tens of thousands of dollars per month to be the top patron. And then these
Damn.
guys, there are news of these men that find out that these models have boyfriends, And then they get
Yeah.
so upset that they drove down. They drove out of their state to track down the woman, and with the intention to set her house on fire. And
Wait, I think I know this one. Isn't it the guy who like wait, isn't it the guy who like set the girl's house on fire and
yeah,
then it
he was he
almost
was he was
no, the car.
yeah
The car, not the house.
he was caught by the police, right? Like there was the
Yeah.
and it's insane. Like if you look at some of these people, they're not all it's just your conventional definition of a creep. Some of them are very highly successful. Some of them are very uh they're people with achievements. They make a lot of money, and then you just don't normally associate people with their stature, with their success, uh to
Mm.
this kind of
Maybe it's
behavior.
the Nobel Prize effect. Did you heard about that one?
No, what
No,
is
what's
that?
that?
So apparently, somebody was trying to figure out why so many Nobel Prize winners like sometimes believe in some silly stuff like, I don't know, flat Earth and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the conclusion they came to is that when the person is really smart and he has something that how do you say, reaffirms that his own opinion, like a Nobel Prize, right? That
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
there are
Yeah.
a lot of people that also think that you're really smart and you achieved a lot.
Oh
And
my god, that makes
people
so much
get too
sense.
confident. They become too confident in their own opinions, and basically they tell themselves, "Well, I'm smart. I can't believe in bullshit, so this must not be bullshit." And
Mm.
and maybe that's the same thing with confident people. They think, well, I'm successful. I can't fall into a trap.
Wait, this is a dangerous world we live in, because we used to make fun of people that think they're smart because they are unaware of the unknowns. Like there's that dip, right? Like you start when you start
The
learning
more I
something.
know, the more I don't know. Right?
Yeah. When you start learning something, you quickly gain confidence, and then there's a huge dip when you realize there's so much more you don't know, and that your confidence
Yeah,
drops. Right? Like we used to make fun of people that just know things on the surface level, and then they tend to have these beliefs. But apparently, you can be, very very successful scientist with an expertise, and then that success reinforces your, you know, yeah,
you believe that you're also really smart and successful in all aspects of your life.
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, but isn't that a problem with narcissism generally?
I think it's a problem with all people. I think it's our built-in imperfections and little illusions.
People
Mm.
are the problem.
I think you just have to keep in mind that there are illusions, there are certain biases that are normal for people, and do your best to kind of check yourself every once in a while. Or am I, just fooling myself, basically?
I don't remember who said it, but the guy said, "Check yourself before you wreck yourself." Right?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
This reminds me of
Yeah.
there's like a video that talks about how some of the most famous historical figures, like Charles Darwin, like Marie Curie, Schopenhauer, like all these famous names, they're very well achieved in their field, but when it comes to their love life, they're actually like they're assholes. They're terrible people.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, those things are not connected, but I think sometimes we think that they are, and other
Mm.
people think they are.
We're so prone to idolizing people, aren't we?
think I think it's just the
Yeah.
pride, the
Mm.
pride and the ego. I think a lot of the downfalls start when that becomes disproportional to what reality is,
Mm.
right?
Speaking of,
We always
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say, like, speaking of this ego, what do you guys think of, you know, like on Twitter, on LinkedIn, actually on Reddit, there is a Reddit page for LinkedIn lunatics or something, and it's these it's these super hardworking bosses, and then they would post on LinkedIn. They would say things like, "Oh, on Friday evenings, what are you doing? You're partying and stuff." But me, no, I'm putting myself through work, and then I'm constantly doing this and that. And then they will say things,
You know
Oh
what that
my god.
reminds me of? Sorry to cut you off there,
yeah,
but you know what that reminds me of?
yeah.
While you were out dating, I was studying the blade.
I don't get the reference. Where is that from?
It's basically there is this like Jamie, can you explain it better than I can?
Wait, no,
It's basically
I don't get it as well.
then why did you laugh?
No, I didn't. I
I heard
didn't.
you. Okay, so basically in the nerd anime community, right? There's these guys who buys like samurai swords and
Okay, I think I already get it.
yeah, and basically they're like while you're in school like dating and partying, I was studying the sword, and
Yeah.
yeah.
The weeaboos. You,
And basically that reminds me of them just like while you're out partying and living, I was working, grinding hard.
oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
then, I've never seen this subreddit, but I've seen a video where somebody would make AI make different comments. It would ask AI to rewrite different comments so they sound like it's a LinkedIn post. That was
Huh.
pretty funny. You know how I can't even describe it really well with a couple of words, but I feel like we all understand like
Yeah.
how they sound.
They're just really smug, really arrogant, like God, did you listen to
Like
yourself?
corporate
like
speak,
corporate
yes.
speech.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like not calling anybody out here, but those guys on the internet who are or Instagram who's always posting like selfies, photo, and then on the tags it's always like grind hard, believe in God, and you will succeed. That kind of stuff.
No, it's more
Yes, so kind of, but
it's more like
Yeah, yeah,
this. No, it's like you
but
know how
cooperate.
but you know how like if you want to break up with a partner, you would say, "Oh, we need to talk and then we'll break up, blah blah blah." But then if you translate that to corporate speak, it would sound something like, "Oh, our romantic interests do not currently align, and so we shall seek further opportunities," or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But then like the whole thing with these Korea lunatics is that like I remember a couple of years back, one thing that made the news was there was a CEO that was really upset that one of his
Mhm.
employees was actually working two jobs at once. One of his coders, one of his programmers is actually working for another company while being employed by him, working long distance because it was during COVID. So there was no way for him to know that, because the employee works from home, so he could actually work two jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a post I saw one time where the guy had like 6 computers and he was doing 6 jobs in one go.
Yeah, that's what I also remember. I think maybe I saw you in the same post. I don't remember the amount of computers, but I just remember it was basically the whole desk standing with laptops.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and
And
and, and
then
I can believe it because I worked in IT for a little bit, and they are genuine projects where you can kind of slack off a lot.
yeah.
The craziest one was a female programmer, and
Hmm.
she spoke Chinese. Right, so she's an American born Chinese, so she speaks Chinese, and she basically took on many jobs, and then she just outsourced them to China, and then she did
I
nothing.
mean,
Nice.
that's playing the game, though. That's playing the game. At some point, you got to say these guys are like cracking it.
I mean,
Yeah, you can kind of say that she's basically just doing the same thing as the company does,
exactly.
just not exactly correctly by the book.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is what capitalism intends, right? Like companies outsource all the time.
Yeah.
But no, so what do you guys how do you guys feel about like just work culture nowadays versus, our parents' time? Do you feel like because I
Oh.
feel very demotivated and depressed about it. Um
Ouch.
Mostly because I saw this post the other day and it was this LinkedIn recruiter. So this guy's job is a
Mhm.
professional recruiter, and then he goes on to explain his process. He basically says that he makes his coffee and he would put out a job, and sorry, yeah, this was from the LinkedIn lunatics subreddit. This guy would
Mhm.
would intentionally write, this job is remote, when it isn't. And then he says that
Mm.
because by the time that the candidate has already invested and has been cleared and then has been made the offer, they're less likely to leave the job, even if you were to, he used the word clarify to the candidate that the job isn't actually it isn't actually work from home. And then
Mm.
so this was a post that they put on LinkedIn, and he says, this is not deception, this is efficient recruiting. That's such bullshit. It's straight up is this that
Bullshit.
is
Come on.
deception.
That's deception, man.
It's
He's
such
so
And
bullshit.
delusional, man.
yeah, and I feel like maybe he wanted to post that because deep inside he can
He feels
feel
like
that he's delusional. So he wanted to kind of reaffirm that.
yeah.
It's such
No,
bullshit, man.
that's bad. I remember it made me remember a video where somebody was saying that it's so nice that today you can do a lot of interviews without traveling anywhere because when you have to travel somewhere, it actually puts a lot of leverage in the company's hand because by the time when you get there, you invested quite a lot of time and everything. It might feel harder to pass on an opportunity, even if
Yeah.
you know if it be even if this opportunity when you did it through a remote interview, you would
Hmm.
probably not agree.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
But
yeah.
this reminds me of my dad's travel story. Like he's a bit of an older guy. He lives in the past generation, and I would say he kind of still lives in the olden times, right? Because he keeps getting this idea where it's easy to get a job. You just walk in with a cup of coffee, and then you offer them that, and you ask them for a job. It's like, no, Dad, that's not how it works these days. But he lives in that generation, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's got you. You guys spoke with him before?
I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, man! So right, he's left Switzerland when he was 18, and he
Mhm.
basically did a world travel like that. Like he went around, like he took like odd jobs. He would go to the docks, and he would just ask the dock captain, like, "Hey, where you going? You're going to Indonesia or Malaysia? Okay, can I go with your ship? I'll just like sweep the deck and that's how he would like travel the world."
Yeah.
Hello?
And that's
Uh,
insane. I mean, obviously, you can't do that anymore these days.
yeah. You'll need
It's just not
references.
possible.
You'll actually have to
Yeah.
consult the dock captain during business hours,
Yeah.
and they'll give you a reply in
Like,
5 business days if you're
and then you
lucky.
gotta have your, and then
And
you gotta have your TV, and everything's got to be filled out right.
you know, I,
You have to use the
uh,
online portal.
I've heard some stories from my father as well, where he used to work for a bicycle company, and he
Hmm.
said that when it came to the promotion for a sales manager job, it came down to, like,
Hmm.
the decision came down to who can drink the most. So who
Jesus.
yeah, who's able to carry on drinks longer than the other candidates. And this is a legit, I'm not going to name the company, but it is a legit company. It's a big bicycle brand in Asia. And literally for the interview, for the promotion, they just had these candidates with the client, and then just start drinking, and then the CEO would be there and just see who can perform the best while being drunk.
Mm.
Wait.
You know what it reminds me? My father told me a story about a company. I'm also not going to mention it, but basically they had also salespeople, and those salespeople would be able to work as a salesperson not more than 7 years because by that time they start to have health problems. And the reason why they start to have health problems is because they always meet their clients in some restaurants and stuff, and they drink and they eat not the most healthy food, and so like in several years, it starts to pile up and affect their liver and stuff like that.
This sounds
Yeah.
kind of predatory. It sounds like they want to get their customers drunk and make bad decisions and then like sign up to like unfavorable trade deals and stuff like that.
I mean, it goes both
Maybe,
ways.
kind of.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
The client wants you as a supplier to make a bad decision, and you hope for the same thing.
Damn. That
But
sucks.
I don't know,
I
like
mean, it doesn't have to be like that, but
it
that
doesn't.
certainly exists.
I do
Everything's
notice
so
that.
predatory.
So because of the bicycle stuff, like I've had to travel to China many times to negotiate with suppliers, and
Hmm.
like just in terms of the work culture, I think I have been shocked the most when I was in China. Um, I don't know if you know the term. I think it's what is it? 699 or something, not 69, but like
Oh yeah. I know what you mean. Like, isn't it 7 7?
no, it has to be more than that. So it's basically the idea that it's the idea sponsored by, I believe, Jack Ma, the Chinese billionaire that quote unquote disappeared.
That disappeared because of the face of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, him. He's just gone. Everybody's just accepted that, which is funny. Um,
Mm.
but he put forth the idea that in China, people should work 6 days a week, and I think it was 10 or 9 hours a day. So the idea is that you work throughout most of the week. And even though that wasn't prevalent to every single industry in China, at least when I was there dealing with these suppliers, many of them did. They actually worked on Saturdays. And
Mm,
I just felt so bad. Like these people just they rarely have any life outside of work. And
yeah, it's
you
like a
start,
service,
yeah,
Yeah, it's like corporate slaves, right?
military
Indentured
service, a
servitude.
corporate service.
That
it really
I
does.
mean, yeah, at least in the military, you get your clothes, you get a place to stay, you get food to eat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
true.
say some of these
And in the
places.
military, they understand that those are not normal life conditions. So it's usually done in like terms, and then you have time to rest. And
Depends, not always.
I mean, you get a contract, and then when it ends, you have time to recuperate.
Eh,
And
Depends on what country.
well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of these supplier factories, they have employee villages. That's what they call them. It's basically
Mm,
all the employees live on site. They work in a factory or a sweatshop, and they will have a whole village where there is a post office, there is a clinic, um, there will be a library or something. Not that they have time to go to the library, but like the whole closed off ecosystem. And I kid you not, when I was there, the most shocking thing was that I was told that we need to put these workers on overtime. Like they need to speed up production throughout the night. And so I was already kind of nervous. I didn't want to do this. And so I talked to the manager, and then he agreed. And guess what these workers get for working additional 4 hours at night. So after 6 p.m. they work until 10. Guess what they get paid?
all right.
Probably.
I was going to joke. They get firm and sturdy, friendly handshake.
Handshake.
Good job.
Good job.
No, they get ramen.
They get a nice pat on the back and a thank you.
Yeah. A
Yeah, it's
thank you
slightly
email.
better. They get cup noodles, ramen.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It is slightly better.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
And
what?
speaking about the military,
Mm,
that's why a lot of guys go to the military because that's legit a way from them to break out or to elevate their social or economical status, right? Like even if
Yeah.
you think about the Roman Empire, do you know about the Moralis crown? I think it's called
what a
the
Morales crown?
mural crown. The mural crown.
No idea.
Basically, this is a reward given to the first guy who storms the wall. This was also how
Oh,
they
yeah, I've heard
tried
about it.
to,
Yeah.
yeah. This is also how they motivated people to storm the walls because, bro, you're gonna die. You know, like any no sane person wants to die, right? So, but the reward for winning this mural crown, it's so hefty that I believe there was one either soldier or commander. He won it and he elevated his family status from just like a normal peasant to like being in the Senate.
Oh wow.
Wow. So it's like
I
coming
don't have
from
the
a normal employee to become basically almost a
CEO.
president.
Yeah.
I thought the Senate has to be voted in by the people. No?
Yeah, he was popular.
Ah.
And also the monetary reward is enough. The reason why some what you call it legions are very pushing this for their commander, it's because usually the commanders, they understand like they're not going to be able to charge the wall alone, right?
Mhm.
So they would also then give back a majority of this sum of money back into the legion itself, so it's like a win-win for
Mhm.
everybody involved.
No.
Um,
I mean,
Yeah.
even in today's world, like some of the US Army usually it usually comprises of people that are from very poor backgrounds. You know, they genuinely don't have a better outlook on life, and then they needed to turn, and so they'll go to the military.
yeah.
It's one of the only ways, and then they would
I
have.
mean, I hated the hotel industry so much I went to the army.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine?
What does that say about the hotel industry?
I think that says more about the Swiss Army than it says because it's not the same,
That
right?
as well.
But
Guys,
I mean,
I apologize to interrupt. I have to
mhm.
start packing and leaving.
mm,
All right.
So everyone that is listening, our dear listener, thank you very much. I'm going to say goodbye. And yeah, my two fine friends will continue the conversation.
oh,
Thank you, Dan, for coming. We
oh,
appreciated you giving us your time.
we're just fine.
Thank you, guys.
We're not great friends. We're fine. We're fine.
No, I was going to
Um,
say fine gentlemen, but then I was like, I already used that word today, so
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
but they didn't know that.
true. But they are fine gentlemen, and to fix my friendship level that I incorrectly
well,
assigned,
I mean,
yeah, well, in all honesty, they are my brothers from another mother. How
yeah.
aw.
Bernard like to say.
Thank you. No, we just busting your balls, man. You gotta go.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
All
All
Bye,
right.
right.
bye,
Thank you for
Dan.
your time, though.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Ciao. All right. So where were we? We were talking about the crown, Morales crown, and then
The military. No, I actually
yeah,
this is actually a genuine question from me. Like, how do you plan to deal with the rat race
re-
or escape the rat race, so to speak?
a little more lucky, man. Like I would say I'm a little more lucky. I got things planned out. So because I'm a be real. Like it's a nice gig, but it's not something I want to do for the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, to each their own, to each their own.
Mm.
But like it's just not for me
Yeah, but
because I don't.
it's such a nice like safety net, kind of like a leap, like a it's like a what's the
It is.
phrase? Yeah, something to
It
leap
is. It is.
from. It's like a stepping stone.
Yeah, no, it is. I have to be real. Like
Mm,
I know a lot of people who did it like just to build their capital, so for
mm,
their to start another venture, like in their private equity.
mm.
Like people who just don't really know what to do, so they instead of just doing nothing, they just go, join the army, go on a mission or something. They and it's also like a life experience, like you
Yeah.
learn a lot about yourself, about other how dealing with people and stuff. like there's genuinely a lot of good things that can be learned from it or gained from it. It just depends on your tolerance to discomfort and pain, right? Okay, maybe pain is the wrong word for it, but like discomfort, because
There is
it's
potential
not.
risk, right? There
Yeah,
is still a risk.
there are. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, you're whip somebody with a loaded gun.
that's
Like the risk might
yeah.
not necessarily be from an external factor.
Mm, lethal all the
You
same.
don't. Yeah, no, like for real. Like I don't know if the guy I'm working with is gonna have a mental breakdown, kill me, and then kill himself, like a murder suicide.
Oh my god,
Just cause he had a bad.
that has actually happened in Taiwanese military. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean
mm,
there's always people who are having home issues at home, and then the last nail in the coffin is just the pressure from the army, right? And then they decided, you know what? Fuck it, fuck you all, bang 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 bang, you know.
my. Oh well. So what's your plan like after this? Like after this venture, what? How do you want to escape the rat race? Do you feel like being entrepreneurial? Do you feel like uh because it's if it's Switzerland, I feel like just a regular job is also quite the improvement when compared to most jobs around the world, right?
Yes, but
Mm,
there's always that but, right?
yeah.
It's not it's not as easy. It's not as easy
But what's not as easy? What do you mean?
because if I maybe I'm wrong, but I seem to come to the conclusion that if you really want to go anywhere in life, you kind of have to start something of your own, which is of course in itself a big risk and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you want to do, right? Like, I think that's something that I had to struggle with for the past couple of months. That I know
Hmm.
that, I even if I were to join some of the best companies in the world, in my field, I have heard of too many examples of very talented people being fired left and right. Because it's business. It's business. There's no other way, especially with AI on.
Yeah, trimming the fat, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like right now, the whole gaming industry right now.
Yeah, my goodness. I know so many really talented VFX artists or like people that you don't associate with easy to replace. Like I know this guy who is a technical artist, so he's technically a programmer and then he writes tools. He's basically a software engineer except he writes plugins for existing softwares. And then you wouldn't think
Yeah,
that this guy is easy to replace and yet he was fired.
dang.
And a lot of companies, like Ubisoft, like all these big gaming companies, even Blizzard, they don't really make their own art stuff, right? Like some of these, Blizzard is well known for its Blizzard polish, and part of that polish is the art style. The overall artistic styling and expression of the product. But these companies have become so big, they just outsource everything to Poland, to the Philippines, or to Vietnam. They don't really do the art themselves.
Is it? I never knew that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll give you an example. A lot of Overwatch, right?
I am aware of it. Never played it.
So it's a hero shooter, and
Yeah.
part of the economy for Overwatch 2 is for people to buy into the battle pass so they can buy skins for their characters. So
Yeah, but that's just the live what you call it, the model for live
live service.
what's the word? Live service, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, but so that's
Isn't it?
their main monetization strategy, right? Like you would think that, oh, if this is the main way for you to make money, maybe you do that in house, but they don't. They I have seen so many artists on like ArtStation, and you would just see them on their portfolio. They would say, "Oh, I created this skin for this Overwatch character," and I was shocked. I'd be like, "Wouldn't this be done in house?" And then I looked, I would click into their project and only to realize that yeah, some skins are fully just outsourced. It's just
Hmm.
outsourced to somebody else, and then of course these companies when they buy them, Their internal art team still has to do a lot of fixing, making sure it's compatible with the game engine, etc. But
Yeah.
with AI coming, you would start seeing a lot of gaming companies that are run by non-programmers or non-gamers, that they would think that, oh, the AI tech is ready now to to replace some human labor, when in fact it's not ready yet. And so
I mean,
yeah.
that's also just for all creative works, no? It's at risk from
Yeah.
AI.
Oh my goodness, especially for the past couple of years, it's been anybody who draws for a living and anybody who writes for a living has been hit very hard by ChatGPT and Midjourney and etc.
And what about this new DeepSeek? Have you tried it? Are you trying it?
I haven't downloaded the thing locally, but like the main thing
Mhm.
about it is that it has that R1, the reasoning chain, so which is interesting because when you type in a
What's that?
prompt. So basically, it's an option that you can activate whenever you are using the chatbot. And if you click on it, if you activate R1, the reasoning model, you can basically see the thought process of the chatbot of DeepSeek. It'll literally say, "Oh, the
Okay.
user asks me for this and that. Maybe he is asking for this, so I should respond
Mhm.
with blah blah blah." So, which is really interesting because you now will then have a I don't know if this is accurate to say, but it's basically a chatbot that is fully aware of everything you have prompted it. So in this whole chat, if you continue to talk to it for like 2 hours, it still has all the recollection of everything you have said before, and that goes into its decision making. So if you have been talking about a lot of role play, right? Some of the words that you use will be interpreted in the context of a role play. I think I'm not doing a good job explaining it, but it's a big deal.
I get. I think I'm following your explanation. But then the question is, for me, is that oh man, hold on, brain fart moment. Can't you use it in your advantage?
What do you mean in my advantage?
Can't, yeah, can't you then use it into your advantage? Oh man, it's difficult because like
You
if
can, you
everybody can
can.
just generate it,
So that's the thing, right?
yeah,
Like it's kind of scary because so if let's say if I want to be an independent animator and I want to make my own film, um, of course I can leverage GPT or DeepSeek to help me write a script, and then I could use image generators like Midjourney to help me with the planning stage, blah blah blah. Um, but there's no guarantee of a success, right? And
mm,
the problem is that even as a base level employee, you will now be required to know how to use these tools. And your job then becomes, so here's a problem, right? If your job is to draw characters every day, your job
yeah.
now with Midjourney, with image generators, has become that, oh, you're actually prompting and generating images throughout the day, and you're actually spending very little time creating stuff. You don't, in fact, you don't create, you don't draw. You kind of just do a lot of fixing. You paint over stuff, like you fix things that the
Mm,
supervisor doesn't like. And so the problem isn't even like monetary in its essence. It's not that, oh, I'll be paid less, or my job will be replaced. It's the fact that this job that you love to do is no longer that. You don't create anymore. You let machines make stuff, and then you work on the output of the machine. Which, there's a very interesting analogy. I forgot, there's a movie about this where human beings basically work off of the plans that are output by an AI. And that's
Isn't
yeah.
when you talk about that, it just popped in my head. Like literally, back when you talk about that R1 system, isn't that getting closer and closer to just GAI, general
you mean
artificial intelligence?
you mean AGI?
AGI, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the one. Isn't
I
that like
not really. I mean,
really?
there is still training. I suppose, yeah, you could say that we are um getting closer to like a super artificial intelligence. Mm, I don't know. It's quite complex because there is still the whole matter of needing a lot of data and a lot of graphics card to process and train off of this. The main concern that people have is that, um, excuse me, that DeepSeek is trained by distillation of
What's that?
ChatGPT. So basically, what
Ah,
that
yeah, yeah.
means is that a lot of the training for DeepSeek has come from people just prompting ChatGPT billions of times, right? Like you just start asking ChatGPT for an output, and then you basically use that. It's kind of like learning from it's kind of like learning something yourself versus learning something from a teacher, right? A teacher
Mm.
breaks down the information for you, and then so it's easier for you to learn. So that's kind of roughly what they talk about when they mean distillation. So in a way, DeepSeek, couldn't have existed without ChatGPT in the first place. But in it,
Well, I don't know. Some teachers, I would say, are making it harder to study to learn.
that is true. Can you imagine, like kids nowadays, they don't need to Google; they just DeepSeek stuff.
That's crazy if you think
And this is
about it.
insane. Like I used to, um, like fret over finding ways to write an essay. But
Hmm.
now you can just prompt ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any of the LLMs to come up with a structure for you. So like you don't even need to work on the
Me,
planning stage of the writing. You just do the writing later on, like after the AI has planned it for you.
man, that's kind of insane. I
Yeah,
wish I'm in school again now. You can just AI generate your homework and stuff. But I mean, that defeats the purpose, isn't it?
it
Doesn't it?
does. It does. And now, what's kind of frustrating now is that um I'm learning Python. And so
Hmm.
so whenever you're programming, you need a kind of like a programming editor, right? Like Microsoft Visual Studio Pro, etc. And then the one that I use is called PyCharm, and it's pretty industry standard. Most people that
Okay.
program with Python language like to use it because it's a really nice script editor. Um, and now they all have AI options. So when I'm typing out a code and I want to make it work and I'm trying to learn something like a while loop or a for loop, right?
Yeah.
As I type,
Well, I don't know what they are, what
oh,
these things,
okay,
looping things are.
basically it's just in encoding. A way to automate something is to say, hey, while this condition is true, continue to do this,
Okay.
for example. And so while I'm coding, I have challenges and problems I need to solve. But now these softwares all have AI assistant built in, so it just tells me what to write. It
Dang.
would just give me one of the solutions, and then I just feel like, oh man, and then I don't learn as efficiently, and this is why some of these programming software CEOs out there would say that, the future of programming um, isn't actually for anyone to become a programmer. It's for programming to be something everyone is able to do. Just as
Mhm.
everyone can pick up a pen and draw something, right? Just as most
Yeah.
people nowadays can go on Excel and start creating a spreadsheet, that programming becomes a like a layman's tool,
I guess
like
well,
something
zero,
everybody
yeah.
does. Yeah,
Dang.
but I don't know. It's just kind of insane. And
It's
then
the future dystopia that we're heading towards.
this is why, like, we're talking about like the rat race and then the working culture. Like, it's the security that comes with a job used to be, a house, an income, a car, the dream.
Yeah.
But now it
I mean,
doesn't.
yeah. I mean, wouldn't you say then that the more human-based uh, skills would be more, how do you say, desired? Like, for
Valued, yeah.
example, being a life coach, that kind of stuff. like more
Funny,
communication.
funny you should say that. There, like BetterHelp, this brand. Apparently, there are many solutions for therapy out there that are run by AI.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
AI therapy?
yeah. So you can talk to an AI life coach.
Isn't that just like AI chatbots?
Yes, but it's a specifically trained chatbot that would respond in a way that closely imitates a therapist or something. Which a lot of news has come out of that because it's tragic. I think there was a teen in the UK that talks to one of these AI companions, but was then prompted to commit unaliving himself, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, do we have to say it like that? I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
noticed you said it like that.
Oh yeah. Please
Oh man.
use unalive. Try to avoid the
Yeah,
easily.
yeah, the K word. Oh
Yeah.
my god. All right, okay.
It's called
This is
media training, baby.
I never thought I would have to be faced with this conundrum.
Exactly. And AI has been used in catching PDFs as well.
What do you mean catching PDFs?
PDFs is another media trained word to refer to people that are very fond of
Oh, I think I
children.
know. I think I know.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
with minorities? Wink, wink. You
minors.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not yeah, yeah, I was trying to avoid that word.
In any case, yeah. And so like
Yeah.
that's why going back to work, which is why like me as an artist, as an animator, I'm just
Hmm.
I'm so demotivated to join a company because it feels like it's no longer an investment. Like you can just be replaced for no reason. There could be a new CEO who has no idea what he's doing, but he just likes the idea of cutting down workforce because that's how you increase your share price in most
Yeah.
industries, right? Like you increase the price and you cut your workforce.
Yeah.
Spotify became profitable this year because it raised the sorry, I think it was Netflix that became profitable, or Spotify, either one of them, because it cut over 50% of its own workforce and it raised the price. So it's one of the easiest way, to just to create the facade that
Generate
the
the cash,
company is
right?
doing well.
And also like buying back stocks and stuff.
Yeah.
That's also a good way to make it seem like to force the prices up.
Yeah. So your fate is always at the behest of these people that potentially know nothing what they're doing, and then it's I don't know, it's demotivating, which is why I really want to start my own thing and
Hmm.
just see where life takes me, I guess. I feel like to be mentally healthy nowadays, from my perspective, is to not expect too much from career wise, but instead, kind of like put your effort into building something for yourself, even if it doesn't
Yeah.
really, amount to much in the beginning. Uh, you would still age into a person who has really done something with his life. Like you actually did expend your time and effort in your own interest, as opposed to achieving somebody else's dream.
Yeah, but if I think about like starting your own company and stuff as well, it's such a big risk, it's such a lot of insecurity. You remember Dan when he mentioned this, like it's like being unemployed, and
Yeah.
that he has the constant stress of like, oh, when am I gonna get my next uh not job but like
Mm,
order and stuff.
very much. Well, this is why
It's just
you want to remain
quite rough.
agile, right? Like I feel like for Dan, it's still fine because he doesn't have like a whole group of employees that he pays, right? It's pretty much just him. Um, and there are a lot of things you can start small. I feel like you don't necessarily have to like just make a huge bet, take a huge risk and then
All
start an
in.
office. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Just take it slow and then keep it small. You never know what would take off, right? Like some of the most lucrative creators out there, they never wanted to make it into a business in the first place, right? Like it's always a happy accident for them. So I guess,
Yes, the tragic. I never wanted this.
yeah, so I guess the lesson is not to
Don't stress it.
yeah, don't stress it. Don't try to make yourself. Don't force yourself into becoming a success. I think the success comes from you putting time, in, putting your own time into your own dream, your own passion, kind of.
Is this in a sense like a message for yourself when you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about it?
It's kind of like the mantra that I've been trying to live by. Having
Mhm.
joined so many different studios here in Taiwan, and even did some outsourcing work. It's just so you get paid, it's nice, but it feels so meaningless at the end of the day. Like many times I would go to bed and I just feel like, Okay, so what exactly have I done? Besides, because I don't get that satisfaction of like when people from the olden days be like, oh, it's a good day's work. You go back home, you feel like you've done enough. I don't get that feeling. I just feel like, oh, I've been this person's bitch for for
Oh
eight
man,
for 8 hours a day, and now okay, well, now
Jesus,
what?
what a way to see it. I mean, you're not wrong
Yeah,
because you are kind of like under their whims.
it
But
is.
oh man, that is a sad way to see it.
Well, which is
I
why
mean,
I'm looking to you for inspiration. I'm wondering like what you would do. Uh,
me.
yeah, like what would you do afterwards? Like, what do you want to do for your life? Like, what's your
Well, see, I kind of want to just look. I'm gonna be real. Maybe this sounds like a bit uh cringe or whatever, but like I just want to be there for my partner. Like they're gonna
Mhm.
have. I just want to be like an anchor in their lives.
I mean, that's
Um,
that's that's definitely like that's heartwarming. That's nice. Um, but isn't there something you want to do for yourself?
I got something laid out for me. But then again, I think it's just because I'm lucky.
Um, in the
I'm
past, you mean?
lucky. What?
In the past, you mean? Like unlucky in the past with your
No,
oh
I'm lucky. I am
oh
lucky.
ah
Yeah.
you know
I have the how you say connections and the stuff like that.
well, what if I put it this way, right? Like your partner or your future children would they would thrive if they have a happy husband or father, right? And so in a way, by having your own um direction or passion and dreams, something that you would
Mhm.
pour yourself into, by doing so you end up being more spiritually satisfied, you end up being more physically and emotionally available for your family, because
Yeah,
because you're
and
taken care of on that front, right? So
yeah,
you're generally happier. So perhaps for their case, it would be beneficial for you to have a calling. I like to think of it this way. I feel like Dan, it's like knowing Dan, he's always had like an affinity for building stuff, right? Doesn't it? It always feels
yeah,
like
he's not awesome.
he has a calling for. He's like Bob the Builder. He has a calling for building stuff. This goes back to it goes way back to when I saw him play Gary's Mod. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And for me, I like spectacle. I want to build. I want to make stories, and I want to make. Um, I'm a bit shallow, right? Like I feel like I want to make things that people are.
How is that?
Yeah, people are immediately affected by or impressed with. And what about
How
you?
is that shallow though?
Huh? Sorry.
How is that shallow though?
Mm,
Aren't you just underselling yourself?
I don't know. Shallow is not the right word. Um,
I think it's not the right word. No,
yeah,
I
I just
disagree with that statement.
my I feel like my calling has always been that I feel like our generation is so lucky that we have had some of the best movies and series, and some of these
Mhm.
stories, they truly reach your heart, like they really tell something to you, and that's something that I feel like I always live by. I feel like some of the most powerful things in the world are stories, are incredible
Mm.
stories. The most successful story is obviously Jesus Christ. The freaking Bible. Um,
Whoa, well, you might want to be careful about that
oh,
statement. Some people
oh,
might take offense to that.
okay. Some of the most successful stories are religious scripts. Non-specific, just a general religious script. Um,
Yeah,
but you know what I mean, like, right there is
I do
there,
know what you mean.
there's
Yeah,
a
I'm just busting
power.
you a little.
Yeah, stories affect culture, and if you think about it, America has been the dominant power on this planet for the longest time, and not just because of its military and economic might, right? In part, it is because American culture of all these TV shows, the Hollywood,
Yeah,
Disney,
it's the
all
media.
right. These are soft power. These are incredibly insane. Like, you can go to any corner of the world and you say Disney, Mickey Mouse. People know it. That to me is power. That is insane. Right.
It is. It is soft power.
Yeah, and that's something I'm very drawn to. So I'm very so I've always been curious to ask you, like, what kind of what's something that lights a fire in your heart? What's something that you really want to do?
I would say, honestly, creative stuff. I used to be writing a lot of poems. I used to like drawing sketches and writing stories. But we
Right? Yeah.
see that I don't want to be a pessimist, but like you gotta provide. You gotta be able to look after yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
That's
because
true.
you like art doesn't mean it's a good form for survival. You know what I
Doesn't Yeah,
mean?
it doesn't mean it pays the
It's
bills,
like
right?
that way. Yeah.
You know what does pay the bills?
What does?
Something is really interesting that's happening in many parts of Asia. Um
Mhm.
so Taiwan has we grew up on manufacturing. We used to be like a manufacturing powerhouse. Most people were
Mhm.
not very well educated. We didn't really have a technology sector or anything like that. We were just, good old fashioned work, right? Gig
Yeah.
work. But now Taiwan has matured
Love by
into
your bootstrap.
yeah, like now Taiwan has matured into semiconductors, and then you know we have an entire city that is dedicated to software development, etc. And
Mhm.
oh, excuse me, um,
No worries. Bless you.
people no longer want to do the brute work of like a plumber or a carpenter, right, or somebody who builds stuff, or a driver. Uh, And so nowadays in Taiwan, you could look up for jobs and you would see that plumbers that, or electricians, all these blue collar type of jobs pay significantly more than, um, it's like like an entry programming job, or a system admin, or, all these white collar
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I am aware of that. Like I was talking to my cousin about it
Mm.
actually, because he's a IT security branch, but he was working in as a plumber for a while.
And like,
Hello.
yeah, and did his pay go up or something?
Unfortunately, his boss was a real douchebag, so it didn't work out very well.
Well, I mean, in Taiwan, it is almost beneficial that, if you know the trade, if you can actually do the work, people are like encouraged to start a company for themselves. And you literally just take on cases. And a lot of these people are making mad dosh. Like, they're making a lot of money because they're in during the summer, ACs are always breaking down, and uh,
Mhm.
and they would like my family has a plumber, or like a general electrician, as we call them. Um, and he used to be like one of those guys that would just rush to your house whenever you make a call. Would be like, "Oh, I need this fixed," and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm available. Come straight away." You would have your stuff
Yeah.
fixed on the day. But now, when I call him, I'll be on a wait list of a month.
Make an appointment, yeah, because it's
Yeah,
it's like I said, like it's supply and demand, right? Back then we
yeah,
used to have such a big supply of these blue collar
yeah,
workers, and people. It's also a bit of cultural view on it, right? Because normally
Yeah, it's a
you're
stigma.
saying, I mean, like for example, my partner, she's doing part time in security, right? And
Yeah.
and the statement somebody would make in the past is like, oh, you're not smart enough to do anything else, so
Hmm.
you have to be able to work with your body, right?
Yeah.
So there's this like both
Hmm.
cultural and economical reason
Yeah. Yeah.
of why you don't want to do that job, because other paying jobs are well paying and you rather want to do that instead, right? But that caused the demand, because there was not a lot of demand as well, because the supply was so high. Now
Exactly.
the supply is going down, but the demand stays constant. I would say the demand even increased because there's way more people, there's
Yeah.
way more stuff, material, consumerism. So it's just perfect market forces causing a change into things, no?
Exactly. And I feel like in a lot of European countries, and then like, I was talking about Taiwan, the same thing is true for Japan and Korea, South Korea. And a lot
Oh,
of it has to do with the fact that we don't take in as many immigrants when compared to the United States. Like if you look at Europe and
um,
Asia, I think even like with us combined, I don't know if we take in as many immigrants as the American economy does, because the same thing is happening in America, right? Like people gravitate towards high paying job, and then all these low level work jobs,
yeah.
henchman jobs are not taken care of. So in our parts of the world, people get paid more because of supply and demand. But in places like the States, where if you're smart enough, you keep importing people into your country, so they fill these jobs, and so these
Mm.
jobs are kept artificially cheap. So I just hope that I don't know. I just hope that I don't know. Switzerland doesn't take in that many immigrants, does it?
I mean, we do, and also it's less immigrants, but they also have to think about refugees. Like we all, I don't want to be so proud to say that I can speak for the whole country, but like there is a lot of refugees coming in as well. Like
Mm,
if you think about the 2000s, it's the from the Bosnian and Kosovarish war,
mm,
where there is just wave after wave of refugees. And then now, if you think about refugees, you're thinking about the Ukrainian refugees, which are coming in. I'm not saying it's either good or bad. I'm just saying that this is a matter of fact that they are coming in. And so obviously they come in, they get some support, but they still need to find a way to survive and feed themselves as well. So um, in a sense, they are quote unquote kind of like immigrants. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
people would tend to stay. They sometimes they find jobs and then they stay for long enough, and then they are able to apply for a residency.
yeah. They fit that
So
role.
yeah.
Mm,
So in a sense, it's not exact one to one, but there is that too going on. And if you think about it, the whole rat race things is it's just like more meat for the meat grinder, you know?
exactly. So I don't
It's kind
know.
of sad to say that.
What do you feel? How? So here's my conclusion. Right, my conclusion
All
is
right.
that if if you don't have any responsibilities, as in you don't have people to look after, you know, perhaps you don't have like elder parents that you need to take care of.
Yeah.
If you're
Like if
like
I'm not beholden to anything, let's
yeah,
just say it like that.
like me, or
Yeah.
I'm pretty free in that front. I feel like I can kind of afford to work for my passion, like work for something that I
Yeah.
find spiritually meaningful. And be okay even if on the monetary front that I'm not being paid as enough, because I don't have that responsibility. But I feel like if you
Yeah.
have people to look after, if you feel like I think it's completely legitimate that you work for the money. It's absolutely, in fact,
Mhm.
I would I would recommend that. But if you're a
Of
little,
course. I mean, we are living in a reality, not a
no.
not a fantasy world, you
Yeah.
know?
But if you're like me, you're very ideological. If you find a lot of satisfaction from doing creative stuff, I would still recommend
Mhm.
you do it. Even if it's just a little. It could be a
Oh, I
side gig,
do. I do.
right? Right? Yeah, yeah.
I don't I didn't bring this up because I don't want to, like I say, blind you with the light of romance or whatever you said earlier. But I actually started writing a poem again. Like it's been
Oh,
reigniting my creative juices.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what? We need to have
You
an
want me? I
episode.
can send it to you later. I'm pretty proud of it. Like it took me a whole week to work on it.
I would love to
Thankfully,
see
I have
them.
time to. Yeah.
The more
But
the more accurate the description, the more vulgar, the better.
what? No, it's not vulgar at all.
Oh,
It's very sweet,
oh
I
my
think.
goodness. I could read it and I feel like I'll cringe into a fetal position and I'll just
Oh my
crumble.
god. One of the lines are on it is like thank you for letting me be my cringy me or something like that.
Oh no, my goodness. Oh, we need to
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
We should have an episode about this, like the immediate
What?
effect of because I was telling you the other day that people have done some research into the state of being in love in the during
Hmm?
the earlier months, that some of the effects can be akin to being on cocaine or something. I forgot which was the drug that they compare it to,
Mm,
but there's that euphoric kind of like feeling. There's that
mm,
dopamine hit whenever you wake up. You feel like
yeah.
there's something to look forward in the day, right?
Mm, mm.
Anyway, that's my professional way of saying I'm so jealous. F off. But no, seriously, I'm super happy for you. I,
Thank you.
But yeah, we need to have a week to talk about that.
Sure, but on the other hand, right? You have to also be careful of having this rose tinted glasses.
yeah.
Like while I am happy and I'm enjoying and indulging in the sensations and feelings and all that,
Mm,
like you always have to be critical. Like not critical, but like
mm,
you have to observe it as is. You got to stay objective. You know what I mean? Like it's
indeed.
not just, oh, happy fun times, I'm enjoying the ride. You know, you gotta look at what you got. Try not to put the other person on a pedestal.
Mm, I think
And
that's so.
yeah,
Yeah,
the only reason why I'm feeling like this is because we've had discussions about it already,
yeah.
and the life goals are pretty similar. The principles and morals are pretty similar.
So
So I'm
pragmatic.
allowing.
I like
No,
that.
we both are very pragmatic, and I
Yeah.
like that.
Mm,
And since we had this talk already, like
mm,
I'm more confident to just let myself uh, get lost in it. You know what I mean?
indeed. Oh.
It's like, okay, I covered my bases. Now I
Hmm.
can enjoy it, kind of.
Indeed. All right. Well, I guess we're concluding our talk on a very depressing subject of work culture, but this is a nice conclusion, I feel.
Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, at the end of it, you know, you gotta try to enjoy your life as well.
Yeah.
If not, what's the point? You know,
Indeed.
I I've said it a couple of times, maybe not with us, but just to
Mm.
random people. But just because you're alive doesn't mean you're living.
That's so fucking true. I feel like
Yeah,
there are already multiple Sundance films about this. Just so many people live for living as opposed to live to enjoy life. People just getting by. Ah,
yeah.
I don't know if that's such a fair
Maybe
criticism if most human beings have done that, in the past.
some people are not in the position to be able to choose, right? But
That's true.
then But then here comes the whole like stoicism thing of
Yeah.
like then choose your happiness, like enjoy the
Yeah.
little things and stuff.
Which
But
is
it also depends on how you sell it. Because
yeah.
remember that thing you mentioned about the cult?
Mm. Which is funny, by the
Yeah,
way, like, because I would hear from my mom's story when when they were growing up, they were they were impoverished. Like, let's put it this way: like, my mother would literally not have meat for most of her childhood. So she literally didn't. Her family couldn't afford it. The meat goes to the boys who works in the farm, right? Like so, there's just so much poverty back then. But then, she would tell me that my grandfather on her side, so her father was one of the
Mhm.
happiest human beings, like one of the happiest people. That he would be so happy, like they would make a bowl of soup, and then the children would complain, say, oh, I want protein and stuff, and then he literally just picked up a bunch of bugs from a bush of from a bush of vegetables, and it's like, yo, here are some really nice proteins. And then but yeah, this goes on to happiness, but we'll talk about it next time. uh
Maybe let's talk about how we can enjoy life, because
yeah.
it's a bit of like it's like I want it to be a bit of a pendulum as well. I don't want to
Mm,
talk about how life sucks and shit, and then
exactly.
don't talk about the good things about life as
Mm,
well, right? Because
yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this ever, but like I've had some pretty rough patches of life as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
man. The important thing is that we're there for each other. This is
Oh
turning
yeah.
turning into a wholesome podcast kind of thing. But anyway, I guess we should conclude our episode today. Um,
All right.
but yeah, so stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you guys for listening. So
Don't
bye.
forget, we are
Yeah.
on Spotify. And if you
Patreon.
like what we do, like and subscribe, Patreon, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and leave a comment if you want. We'll answer your questions.
If you have fun. If not, it's okay too.
Right. Bye guys. Bye.
Ciao. Have a good one.